tiny windowless cells provide inmates with all sensory stimulation for weeks or sometimes even months on end. Access to mental health services was non-existent, and in 1975, educational and recreational programs, the things that are supposed to give you a chance at a normal life after you're released, were actually stopped completely. And inmates spent most of their free time in lockdown. Gang culture was formed
One of those railguns hits us, we'll be torn into a million pieces. They'll be looking for aircraft as well. Don't split them about.
Violent fights frequently breaking out in territory or someone was beating someone else the wrong way. Add the fact that inmates and varying security levels
The Alicorn fired its railguns.
together.
It's using
Hardened criminals were sharing cells with first-time offenders, creating a breeding ground for exploitation and
The Alicorn is diving.
breeding ground. Anyway, the basic gist was if you weren't in a gang, then you would get stabbed or shagged. Or both. At the same time. And if you were in a gang, then you would only get shagged by the
drones that have been launched.
Tensions within the prison continued to rise, and first attempts at retaliation started to something that became known as the Night of the Axe Handles became a chilling
That's more than enough. All aircraft, position yourselves to hit the Alicorn as it surfaces.
Righto. In addition, the inmates started a work strike in the dormitories. After a series of escalating altercations, Deputy Warden Montoya authorised the use of tear gas to subdue the protesting inmates. As they started to exit the dormitory, using teary-eyed from the gas, they were
surfacing.
led through the 100 yards along the corridor, with guards beating the absolute fuck out of them and the entire jungle with axe.
The railguns have locked onto you. Increase your flight speed and evade.
The incident was verified by several eyewitnesses, some even being guards themselves. When they opened a federal lawsuit naming Deputy Warden Montoya and another guard captain as the perpetrators. That same year, an inmate with heroin addiction withdrawal was seeking help at the prison hospital, but he was instead thrown into solitary confinement, as if being confined within the hole with nothing but his heroin-withdrawn mind was not enough. He was also severely abused. Everything from insults to being
They've got serious guts to take off right now.
The torture lasted for a month, and after he was solitary, another inmate, a friend of his by the name of Dwight Duran, who was serving time there for larceny and forgery, attempted to nurse him back to health. But his condition only got worse as time went on. After almost a year of begging the guards to get his friend proper medical treatment, he was finally examined at the hospital, where it was found that he had an advanced malignant tumour in his testicles. He was transferred to a state mental hospital where he died about 2 weeks later. After the incident, Dwight Duran was encouraged to write a 99-page civil rights complaint to the U.S. District Court of New Mexico in November of 1977, on behalf of all of his fellow inmates and treated the same way as
the enemy submarine's outer hull is severely damaged. It won't be able to dive like that.
Duran consent. And with over 10 grand jury investigations between 1977 and 1979 about the prison, the administration expectedly refused to put any funds in for the necessary changes to the prison. This lawsuit was often seen as the last major non-violent attempt by the inmates to push for reform. This was about 2 months before the riot. In 1980, the terrible conditions in the prison reached their peak. Rumours of an uprising began to circulate among the inmates and the staff. The administration dismissed the warnings as just disgruntled chatter, but what the then warden Jerry Griffin and his staff failed to realise was the sheer amount of anger that had accumulated.
Negative. We cannot attack those that have surrendered. It's a breach of international law.
Just to name a few, created the perfect mixture that was ready to explode. The inmates finally had enough. And they wanted the law.
I hold international law so dearly. We'll no
On
longer be
February
soldiers the
2nd,
moment we don't. And I'll
1980,
happily
what
quit my
began
career.
as a
Do not
casual
attack.
drinking party with President Hooch being homemade prison alcohol usually made in the toilet. The inmates in E2 dormitory were hatching a plan to overpower the guard.
David North,
during
an
the
analyst at the
routine
OC Intelligence Agency.
A proper plan never
Captain, we've already jammed your terminal guidance system over all red. Your shot will
on the
miss the
staff
mark.
fucking
Let me tell you a story. Back when I was a government
boy
officer,
that the staff managed to fuck up.
shipped 30